let's review this game. So the game started with Ruy Lopez opening a6, b5, knight f6, knight c3, and bishop b4. Bishop e7 is also something I will go after. Then I can castle. So the thing with bishop b4, I think white can move the knight to the center. And I don't think we can win the pawn because after the exchange, we'll lose e5, and later the f7 will be under attack. Uh, so yeah, and also white can play d4 to open up center. So basically, we cannot win the pawn after knight d5, and white can also castle. I don't think we can win the pawn like this, knight e4 after rook e8, pawn back, and white take. If you take, white takes. So white can check the king, and we cannot castle. We cannot move queen e7, so our king have to move to f8. So yeah, instead of bishop b4, I will move bishop to e7, a more defensive, but I think more efficient move. White castle, black castle, d3, and take. So we trade our knight, trade the bishop with the knight. I think it's not worth it because in Ruy Lopez, it's very likely that the game will become very open. So safe pair bishop is usually an asset. d6, h3, defending g4. I think that's good. And a5, black want to trap the bishop, and a4, that's a very good move. Take, knight to e7. I think instead of taking the pawn, I mean, the downside was taking the pawn is we will have a light isolated pawn at a5. The pawn will be attacked for sure. Knight to e7, bishop to g5, and knight to g6. This maneuver of the knight is really good. Move knight to g6, and after h6, the white bishop can move to h4. So this is good. After move to h4, we can, and actually we can win the pawn after knight e4. There's a discover attack, and we can take the h4 knight afterwards. We didn't make the move. I think we can surely move knight to e4. Do we need to worry about bishop to c6? Not necessarily. We can take the pawn and attack the queen. The queen move to e1. We can take this rook. And if white take our rook, we can take the knight. So we will win 2 pawns. So we move knight to h7, knight back to f3, offered exchange, b3, a4, this is good. And knight back to center, queen e3, bishop e6, offer exchange. Now white has a passed pawn. d4 is, I think white is losing the pawn after d4, so actually we can play c4. And later maybe move our queen to c3 to kind of defend the pawn. And also control d5. So white can have a very good control of the center. So d4, I think white lose another pawn. And this is not good. And the knight move to c3. We can push the pawn actually. Push it to a2. This is very good. Rook a3. Okay, black is threatening a mate. Now we have the end game. So actually I think white can take the knight. To simplify the game into rook endgame, it's more easy to get a draw. But after knight to h4, I think the white knight is not a very good position. g5, g7, and black has a better pawn structure. Check, take another pawn. Yeah, now the white king has been cut off, and black can activate the king. And also an connected pass pawn. Yeah, so black is winning.